Welcome to our weekly 3-minute therapy podcast. I'm Dr. Michael Edelstein. I'm a clinical psychologist and author, and I have a co-host, Mick Berry. He's not here yet. He may join us at some point. We discuss matters related to REBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, and rational emotive behavior therapy is a type of therapy devised by Albert Ellis in the 1950s, which was a radical change in the psychotherapy movement. And he noted that our emotions don't come from situations themselves, although most people think they do, but our emotions come from our thinking about situations, the ideas in our head. And that's good news, because if you have certain emotions, especially disturbed emotions like anxiety, depression, anger, or even certain behaviors like procrastination, you can change that by looking at the thinking that causes those emotions and behaviors and changing your thinking. So you're in charge of how you feel and how you act. And we teach you how to do that. Now, normally when you have disturbed emotions or behaviors, such as anxiety, depression, anger, procrastination, or addictions, it comes from a particular type of thinking, and that's thinking in terms of demands. Must, should, supposed to's, have to's, demands we put on ourselves. I must do well and get approval, or else I'm no good. Demands we put on others. Others must treat me fairly, kindly, and considerately, or else they're no good. And demands we put on the conditions of our life. My life must be easy, hassle-free, and interesting. And if my life is not that way, then that's horrible. And so I'll escape in drugs or alcohol or other addictions. So when you have disturbed emotions or behaviors, look for your must, look for your should, and question, challenge, and uproot your must, and focus on your preferences. All must start as preferences. I prefer to do well and get approval. I prefer you treat me well. I prefer my life to go well. That all makes a lot of sense. But when you make it into a must, then you cause emotional and behavioral problems for yourself. So today we'll be discussing achievement and what blocks achievement. And there are a few things that block achievement. One is a demand on oneself. I must do well. Suppose you're writing a book and you have a must. I must do well. The book must be outstanding or even perfect. Then that often will block working on the book, because you're never going to have a perfect or outstanding book. You might, but you don't have a guarantee in advance it'll be that way. So show yourself that it's not the end of the world. You could stand it if you don't have a great book, and it doesn't make you worthless failure if your book is a failure. So show yourself that that's the case. And what we're going for is acceptance, unconditional acceptance, accepting yourself as the imperfect human you are, whether your book does well or poorly, accepting others for the imperfect people they are, no matter how much they may try to block you, and accepting your life as, at worst, just unpleasant, but not the end of the world, not awful, terrible, or horrible. So when you change your thinking, then you're much more likely to achieve whatever you'd like to achieve, whether it's writing a book or getting a job or having a good marriage the more you accept the possibility of unfortunate or unpleasant outcomes, the easier it'll be to get started and work on it. Okay, so that's our podcast for today. And I'd like to thank Chris Rossini, our tech engineer. And if you have questions or thoughts, or you'd like to be a guest, let us know below and give us a thumbs up if you found this valuable. And subscribe to the 3 Minute Therapy podcast to stay on the rational side of life.